think part of that is because there aren't any boys around, and there's not really that social pressure. Also because it's a school that puts a lot of emphasis on your intelligence and on your creativity and on your teamwork and on things that aren't necessarily the shallow types of things that I think a lot of mainstream society girls find themselves being pressured to excel at. Another thing I really like about the school is the fact that, like you say, there's kind of that undercurrent of you never know down the road which one of my classmates, my life may be in their hands. And they keep that really in mind all the time. And I think that's one of the reasons the Gallagher Girls are so close and so formidable.
I guess my life has been in Sarah's hand. It's at least my social life a few times, so there's definitely something to be taken away. What kind of research did you do? You're mentioning some spy museums and stuff to sort of get yourself up to speed on international and national and hometown espionage.
I did do quite a bit. I hate to say quite a bit, but I have purchased some books. I'm always joking that I'm probably on all these CIA watch lists because I Google all these very strange phrases. So I'm sure they're probably staking out my house right now. And I go on Amazon and I order all these books about how to be a spy and, cracking codes and, the best ways to spy on your neighbors types of things. And so I'm probably on some very interesting lists.
I'm sure you're popular with the neighbors.
I probably am. They're probably all very concerned. My publishers at Hyperion, all the people in the publicity department swear I'm actually a spy. And this is just like a cover within a cover within a cover.
And we'll never know.
And it may be, you never know. I probably couldn't say so. But yes, I did. I found some good books, and probably one of the best books is the International Spy Museum does just a very small, very basic handbook for espionage that I actually ordered online, and it's kind of written at a kid's kind of level, which is great, which is about the level I need to be reading at anyway. And it covers and it includes a lot of the vocabulary words. Like, for example, when the girl's getting ready to go out for her first date, all of her friends gather around her and they tell her the types of things she needs to have in her purse and in her pockets, and they call that pocket litter. It's so that the things that you carry, kind of reflect what your cover identity is. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, every girl in America needs to be doing that. They need to be considering their pocket litter. And so, just lots of terms like that I was able to pick up from some books and things. And at the end of the day, it's actually very liberating. I imagine it's probably a little bit like what J.K. Rowling goes through when working with the Harry Potter world, is that if something, in reality doesn't quite fit, you have the freedom. It's the spy world or it's the magic world. You can just make stuff up. And so one of the fun processes of the editing process we were going through and, making sure things were spelled correctly and used in the correct context. And everybody kept saying, now, did you make this up or is this real? Now, is this made up or is this real? And so it was kind of interesting to see just, kind of what kind of a blend there ended up being. And I would say it's probably about 50-50 about stuff that's actual things that I've kind of gleaned from other research or books or shows or whatnot. And about stuff that I've just, pulled out of my head.
So have you used any of these skills on anyone in your life, or are you not allowed to tell us that? And do you have anything you'd like to share with us that might be useful?
Not yet. I have yet to trail somebody without being detected, although I do find myself glancing in my rearview mirror a little more than I used to, I guess.
So you mentioned the potential movie based on the book. What can you tell us about that?
It's very exciting. About a year ago, not long after the book sold, Disney optioned the film rights, and they assigned Deborah Martin Chase, who is a wonderful producer. She's the mastermind behind The Princess Diaries and The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And so I feel very, very lucky to be in such good company. And they have just assigned a couple of screenwriters, a screenwriting team who wrote the movie that's not released yet, but it's called Daddy's Little Girl, and it's going to be a big movie coming out from Disney here in the next year or so. And so they're a very hot kind of commodity on the screenwriting front, which is a very good sign. And the last I heard that they had started working on the script, and as soon as we have a script in place, they'll go after directors, and then after they get the director in place, they'll start trying to recruit some actors and actresses. So it's very exciting. We don't know at this point what, if anything, is actually going to happen because, these things kind of fall apart all the time. But at this point, everything looks as positive and as good as it could possibly look. So I'm very excited.
Do you have any ideas for who you want to play Cammy in the Disney movie?
Oh, well, I actually just posted something about this on my blog at alliecarter.com because, as soon as they start mentioning actors and actresses, and one of the things that they have mentioned is that they would love to get, kind of an A-list kind of actress for the mom role, because Cammie's mom is the headmistress of the school, and she's one of my all-time favorite characters. And I just really love her. She's the kind of woman that's a little silly and very soft, and yet, there's kind of that undercurrent that runs beneath her that, she's seen and done bad things. And I think there's a lot of room and potential for that. And so they really want a big-name actress for that. And so, automatically I start thinking, oh, my gosh, what if Julia Roberts was in my movie? Or, oh, my gosh, what if Rachel Weisz was in my movie? And I don't know if anybody of that caliber or who they will end up getting, but I know in my heart that these folks, that Deborah Martin Chase will make no bad calls on that because, I think everything she has done so incredibly well. So I'm just really excited to see what they come up with.
You also write for adults.
That's right, I do.
There's a book called Cheating at Solitaire that is out. And could you tell us about that series and also the differences between maybe writing that sort of book for older audiences and writing for teen girls?
Absolutely. Cheating at Solitaire was my first book. It came out back in December from Berkeley. And it's what I guess people would describe as a chick lit or a romantic comedy type of book. It's about a self-help guru, a woman named Julia James, who is famous for being the woman who can advise anybody and everybody on what it takes to be happily single, and kind of what happens when Julia is doing press for her new book, and the paparazzi get pictures of her with an out-of-work actor. And then everybody goes into a tizzy because the most famously single woman in the world has a boyfriend. And so that is what Cheating at Solitaire is. And it's got a sequel coming out next fall called Learning to Play Gin. And they were so much fun to write. And I really enjoyed doing that. And my agent was actually the one who said, the aspects that you really liked in writing these books are the kind of aspects that are very popular in YA, in young adult fiction. And so she said, why don't you give that a shot?
Can you tell us
and
what
so
those
honestly,
aspects
that's how that
were?
happened. And I'm really glad I did. I enjoy working in both genres.
What were the aspects that you enjoyed so much that were the same?
I think because you can be as fun as you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to necessarily stop and think, well, what's going to be the social ramifications of this statement and things like that. Every now and then a person just needs a good beach read. And I really enjoyed working on that. I think that I like the characters, and I like the freedom that you have to do some things, to really go out there and at times not be afraid to be silly, and at times not afraid to be sappy.